Well, 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 it's Friday, March 7, 2025. You know what time that is? It's time for Fishtrap Fireside. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, that was kind of a little light. Thanks. And a special welcome to all of you who maybe this is your first time at Fishtrap Fireside. Some of you are. Some of you, maybe it's been a while. And to all of you folks out there watching at fishtrap.org or at Fishtrap's YouTube channel, we're happy to have you too. Thanks for coming. Fishtrap Fireside, for those of you who don't know or need a refresher, Fishtrap Fireside is a monthly reading for Wallowa County writers to read and share their work. And every month we get a kind of a look at what people living here are thinking about and writing down. And here's how it works. Each month we invite 3 featured readers to come up to the podium and express whatever they want. Oftentimes we have poetry, sci-fi fiction, nonfiction, essays. It goes on and on. It's always kind of a variety pack to see what people are thinking about here. And every March, we've been doing this for maybe 6 or 7 years, we have the March Fishtrap Fireside devoted to a celebration of Women's History Month. Yeah, absolutely. Every month should be Women's History Month. And what I try to do is get 3 different generations of Wallowa County folks to tell their stories. This month we've got quite a crew here. Give them a big round of applause. Nodya Papineau. Yeah. Kathy Hunter. And I'm having a hard time reading this, believing that it's here. Janis Carper. Oh, yeah. Afterwards, we'll take an intermission where you can fill your cup, grab a snack, and visit with some folks and get ready for the open mic portion of the evening where 5 folks from out here in the audience get up to 5 minutes to read whatever they want. It's always a lot of fun. Do we have, how many people are on the list behind you? We've got 2 folks on the list. If you've already read at open mic this season, maybe give somebody else a chance. But if there's still spaces available, sign up. It'll be fun. Before we get started, it's important to note that each month we have a sponsor for Fishtrap Fireside, which helps provide the snacks and all the things like that. This month's sponsor is the Nature Conservancy, TNC. And I don't know, in like a month, we'll start seeing the wildflowers. I was up at, I hiked Tick Hill yesterday down in Wallowa, and I saw buttercups. It's coming. Still a lot of snow at my house, but it was nice to visit spring for a second. And especially thanks to all of you folks who support Fishtrap as individuals, whether you're part of the Fish Trapper program, which is the sustaining membership program, if you give a yearly donation, or even if you stuff a few bills in that cool fish on your way out tonight to show appreciation for this program. It really does help this happen every month and to keep the lights on. Thank you. Okay, let's get to our first reader, huh? Nodya Papineau, the first time she read at Fireside, she was a teenager, 19 years old. I remember it really well. And now Nodya is a 25-year-old. 5th generation Wallowa Countyan living in Lostine with her 2 daughters, Clover and Ivy. They're here. They're the cutest. Her 2 cats, Beals and Ruby. Did I say Beals correctly?
You did. They couldn't make it.
Oh, geez. I had my dog here earlier in the day. That was fun. And her partner of 7 years, Franklin, whom she met, dig this, at the 2017 Summer Fishtrap Gathering of Writers. Dang. Nodya has been writing for as long as she can remember. She was also elected to Fishtrap's board of directors in 2023, the same year she earned her bachelor's in English at Eastern Oregon University. Nodya has spent much of her adult life teaching literacy to Wallowa County elementary, middle, and high school students all around the county. And when not serving her community, Nodya can often be found in her kitchen experimenting with sourdough, gardening, hiking, or gallivanting through the many lands, listen to this, the many lands her backyard can become, like slaying dragons, sailing the seas, brewing magic potions, and experiencing the beauty of childhood all over again through the eyes and imaginations of her daughters. Welcome, Nodya.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Fireside. Really quickly, before I get into my readings, I just want to say thank you to Shannon and Mike and Jennifer and Janis and everybody who makes this happen and makes so much more happen and continues to provide such an inspiring and brave space for this county that I love so much. While you're enjoying these readings, refreshments, and the atmosphere here in the Bowlby building tonight, please think on all that Fishtrap has brought to this community and how it may have brought something into your life that you may not have even known that you were missing out on. It's a precarious time to be a nonprofit arts organization right now, and I urge you to consider becoming a fish trapper, feeding the fish a couple of bills on your way out tonight, and making a donation of either your money or your time by becoming a volunteer. Thank you. Okay. All right, so this first one is a poem I wrote kind of about my journey with therapy lately. It's called Daily Affirmations. I am capable, I am determined, I am unstoppable. I've got to get out of this bed. I am grateful, I am blessed, and I am the recipient of the gifts of the universe, but I could really use a new couch. I am brave, I am confident, I am composed, but I wish I could just make that doctor's appointment. I am worthy, I am deserving, I have value, but I really should throw away those jeans that I outgrew in 2020. I am beautiful, I am witty, I am desired, but have you seen these Instagram models lately? I am intelligent, I am multifaceted, and I have depth, but they're not listening. See, they're playing Candy Crush on their smartphone. I am without fault, I am superior, I am perfect, but who are you kidding? I am beyond kidding, I am beyond caring, beyond knowing, beyond feeling. What the hell does that even mean? I am the universe experiencing itself. I am everything, but so is everybody else. I am incomprehensible. I am impossible. I am nothing, but so is everybody else. I am the dirt beneath the soles of my fellow humans' feet. I am the longing in the souls of all these earthly lovers. I am the droning of an old crone and the squalling of a newborn babe. I am the blood of the moon and the blood of the slain swirled together in some astral chalice wrought with rubies mined from hell. Who decides who I am, if not I? Okay. So, I just before the start of 2025, I turned 25 on the 25th of December. So this poem's kind of about like all of the different eras, I guess, of my life that I can remember. I'd like to claim to remember being 5 years old, but at 25, 15 fades with every day I walk farther from it. My kid just turned 5, and I see consciousness creeping in behind her eyes. I see it in the way that she asks about the broken bodies of roadkill along the highway. For me, 5 was the splintered wood of city park play structures. It was the sun-baked gravel beneath bare feet and dancing, being close enough to the TV for the static to dance between my eyelashes. Remember when TVs had static? 5 was bright plastic Easter eggs, homemade slip and slides, and ballet class on Thursdays. It was mom's roller skates and bright lipstick and dad's work clothes and Super Nintendo. Tiny snippets of 5 come back only in flitting flashes at 25. It makes me wonder what highlight reel will play in my daughter's head when she thinks back to 5 in 20 years' time. I hope she thinks of the sunny days we've spent swinging in the plum tree out back, of the fairy lights hung about her bed, and the old stump out back turned pirate ship in a sea of toadstools. The dandelion crowns I taught her to make last spring, or kayaking in the lake, but I know better than to think that good memories are the only ones that stick around. Because 5 was also the year my parents finally fell out of love, leaving, taking my childish notions of devotion now well salted. 5 was that blue house on the hill with a clubhouse in the backyard, the one mom and dad bought in 2004 for $125,000 and sold again last year for $500. At 25, I wonder if I'll ever own a home of my own, or if the closest I'll come is my never-ending archive of favorited Zillow listings. 15 was manic panic hair dye and choking on stolen cigarettes. It was listening to music I didn't like to impress people who didn't like me, and unrestricted internet access to things both wondrous and gut-wrenching. 15 was my first boyfriend, who smelled like PE clothes and showed up to freshman homecoming with some senior girl. It was losing my virginity as an act of revenge, but ultimately gaining nothing from it. At 25, I wonder if one day I'll be able to fully embrace the folly of false love the way I did when I was 15. I'd like to think that this time I'll let it roll off my shoulders rather than into my bed. 15 was an eating disorder that led me into my 20s, and it was the friends who let me entertain them with hurt feelings earned by inside jokes I was perpetually left outside of. If you can't tell, I don't miss being 15. I no longer feel obligated to entertain pain that I've had to pretend was pleasure in the past. I've swallowed enough bad jests made at my expense to choke on laughter all my life long. 25 is my spit back in their smiling eyes. I like to think that the existential dread I lived in at 15 evolved into little more than high-functioning anxiety that, as an adult, can be mitigated with an herbal remedy of one kind or another. If life keeps going the way it is now, 35 could turn this high-functioning anxiety into a simply high function, and 45 might even feel something like bliss. I can't be brought to mourn the loss of my youth, not now. Not when I haven't even met my favorite versions of myself, who are all potential, no penitence. 25 is saying to hell with the high road, going no contact with anyone for any reason, and prioritizing my family's pursuit of happiness by obliterating the eggshells I've always walked upon. When you have a kid at 20 and another at 23, 25 feels less like an age and more like an island, floating untraceably through some unlimited body of water that no one can reach unless they really, really want to. This self-styled exile of mine is laid on a foundation of multicolored building blocks, mortared with chunks of broken crayon, and is clover picking clover blossoms by the handful and making me rich in their purple alabaster petals. It's feasting each night upon plastic food made in a plastic kitchen and drinking from wooden teacups. Before bed, we dance beneath a sky overrun with stars, and we sing. 25 is Ivy discovering her love for the black-eyed peas. 25 so far has been a treasure trove of, here, Mama, I made this picture for you. It's the sticks and the rocks they keep in their tiny pockets and finding them again while I'm doing laundry. The Isle of 25 isn't that famed desert island on which you can only bring one thing. Here I have more than I ever dreamed I would at 15. I have it all. All of the magic that little me searched for, all of the hope that teen me hoarded, and all of the courage that grown-up me has found along the way. Here's to 25. Okay. All right, I've got a couple more short ones here. That's not the right one. Okay, I wrote this one about a crow that has been hanging about in my yard for way too long now, and it is called Spring Bringer. Sunlight buries itself into every new line it carved into my skin when last the earth tilted this way. Unbidden, my palms turn upward and drink in the waxing heat. Birds, the small, shrill ones not seen in a season or more, perch on budding branches and unyielding power lines alike, perhaps not quite knowing the difference. The crow knows the difference. The nobler, wiser creature, to be sure, she cocks her head and keeps her distance, calling only sparingly now amongst the twinkling songs of the larks and the robins, as if she and her brothers and sisters hadn't only just perched on those very limbs to fill the winter months with their mournful cacophony. Where had the rest of the crows gotten off to? That thought couldn't help but to be wondered, and why had this one stayed behind? How could one hope to know the intentions of a crow, though I do like to think of her as a harbinger of the spring. All right. One more. All right. This one is kind of about grief, but not really like grief for a person, but like grief for a place. It's called Let's Go. Hey, let's go back to that place where all our childhood pets are buried. Let's go run with them one last time. Let's go walk down the railroad tracks. Hey, let's go and swing on that old metal playset, the one with the creaking chains and the monkey barns. Let's go build a mountain of branches and brush to burn in a backyard bonfire. Hey, let's go run down the road and grab the mail for Grandma. Let's go follow the trodden grass path that Grandpa's work boots have blazed every day for 40 years. Let's go, I'll race you. Hey, let's go salvage stick swords below that ancient cottonwood tree. Let's go press our sunburned cheeks into the deep ravines of its bark. Let's go lie amongst the leaves and search the skies for cloud creatures weaving in and out of the power lines. Hey, let's go sit on the deck and watch the sun go down. Let's go see the sprinklers in the fields call out to the quells of gnats, thickening the dusk like a living mist. Hey, let's go be together one last time. Within the walls that built us, let's go trace trembling fingers over every dusty surface we can find and wonder how many times we've touched this place before or how many times it's touched us. Let's go. Thank you.
Thank you, Nodya. Hey, this is a message for all you folks out there watching on fishtrap.org or on Fishtrap's YouTube channel. You can be a part of Fishtrap anytime. We offer lots of different online and non-synchronous programs. You can go to Fishtrap's YouTube channel and watch hours and hours of readings and presentations. We do have an online workshop coming up, which isn't exclusively for folks out there. You guys can take it too, with Amy Minato in April. It's called The Rites of Spring. It's a memoir workshop, and it's 3 Tuesdays evenings, and it takes place on Zoom. Easy peasy. And also, for everybody here, dig this, Oregon's Poet Laureate is coming to town. Oregon's new Poet Laureate is longtime Fishtrap friend Ellen Waterston. She's taught at Summer Fishtrap for years. She taught at Outpost. She's a wonderful person and a great advocate for new and emerging writers throughout the West. She's coming March 19, 20, and 21 in a few weeks. She's going to start, she's going to have on Wednesday, March 19, I hope you can stop by. It's like right after work, 5 o'clock. It's going to be a meet and greet with Ellen. It's just going to be a time to like hang out with her, ask her questions. Maybe she'll read a few poems. So that's on Wednesday the 19th right here. It's free. And then on Thursday, she's going to do a bunch of work at Joseph's Charter School. We don't get to go to that, but she's going to be in the classrooms, which is really rewarding in a way that the Poet Laureate program gives back. And then on Friday, March 21, Ellen is teaching a writing workshop right here on Friday morning from 9 to 11 called Border Crossings, a creative writing workshop open to writers of all ages and experience levels. This session explores the theme of crossing boundaries, whether physical, emotional, or literary. You can sign up at fishtrap.org. I think it's limited to 13 people, so save your spot if you want to come. And then right after that, she's cruising over to the Josephi Center for Arts and Culture to do a noon lunch talk called Elder Speak. It's a conversation about the power of writers of a certain age and the importance of their voices in literature. Free. And you're going to have lunch?
We'll have something.
Yeah, something more. Bring your Subway sandwich, whatever. All right. Our next reader has been involved with Fishtrap for decades and has contributed so much in so many ways. Kathy Hunter. Award-winning journalist Kathy Hunter spent 23 years in Alaska writing for newspapers and magazines, editing Alaska Today magazine, and teaching. Her fondest memories of Alaska include feature writing for I hadn't heard this before, this is good, the Kodiak fish wrapper and litter box liner. Do you have any copies of that? I would love to see one of those. Excuse me. Since retiring to Wallowa County, she has won many hearts as a performer, that's right, an author of children's books, and the creator of whimsical clay sculptures. Please welcome Kathy Hunter.
Certain Thanksgivings of my life wait to be repeated in my mind and please me again in memory. My mother was the organizer of potluck Thanksgivings when I was young, and she would gather relatives from both sides of the family. They burdened the dining table with a dump truck of mashed potatoes, a bathtub of cranberry sauce, a watering trough of green beans with mushroom soup, and an enormous genetically modified breast-enhanced turkey. A highlight was the Mackenzie Grace, always ending with the Amen in four-part harmony. In the early days, there was a lovely balance of male and female voices. Be present at our table, Lord, be here and everywhere adored. These creatures bless and grant that we may feast in paradise with thee. Amen, amen. My grandfather's hearing aid was prone to squeak at odd moments, and as my tiny nephew was put to bed, he sang, Amen, amen, beep, beep. Many years later, and after my mother died, Aunt Barbara offered to host Thanksgiving. I volunteered to come a little early to help her prepare for the afternoon feast. When I arrived, I found her and her husband in their favorite chairs, in sleeping attire, reading the newspaper. Stacks and stacks of mail, newspapers, and magazines covered every flat space in the room, including the floor. In the kitchen, egg was drying on breakfast dishes in the sink. Aunt Barbara, I said, they'll be arriving in an hour. What can I do to help? She seemed unperturbed but took charge. I began doing the dishes and cleaned up the kitchen. Her husband was sent to a German bakery to buy a Kuchen. When he returned, he moved their pickup into the alley behind the house. Aunt Barbara produced a box of black garbage bags and began stuffing them with all the paper goods flooding the living room. When filled, the bags went into the pickup bed in the truck. Problem solved. Thanksgiving was a success. I never found out what happened to those garbage bags with all their unpaid bills. After our move to Alaska, we eventually wound up in Fairbanks on a cul-de-sac with compatible neighbors. And we celebrated Thanksgiving with a potluck. One year, I invited 2 bachelors, the cousins of a friend. When I asked Glenn what he'd like to bring, he had no idea, and so I suggested potatoes. I think I have some potatoes, he said. How many do you want? I should have realized that this foretold, but was still incredulous when they arrived on Thanksgiving Day and he handed me a paper bag with 5 raw potatoes. The following year, I invited them again, and recalling the potato fiasco, I said, why don't you bring paper plates? They arrived, and passing through the kitchen, Glenn left a paper bag on the table as he went downstairs to play cards with the kids. On setting the table, I looked in the bag and saw in the bottom 1 ceramic and 1 paper plate. 2 plates total. Glenn, I called down the stairs, why is there 1 glass plate and 1 paper plate in here? We ran out of paper plates, he said. When we first came to Alaska in 1975, it was to Kodiak Island, where most of us were bereft of family. I made the closest friends of my life there, isolated by weather and geography. We embraced the freedom to celebrate Thanksgiving with people we simply liked, and not because we were related to them. One year, the men had gone deer hunting in the morning, while 4 of us women prepared the feast and took it to Nancy's house. We were welcomed at the door by the luscious smell of roasting turkey. The children disappeared to play downstairs. We set the table with crystal, the family silver, and a white tablecloth. When the time to eat approached, the men were still missing. We speculated that the hunt had been successful and cleanup was involved. And so we waited. We waited at the table and we talked and we waited. The Kodiak weather and its sea are capricious, and the men were traveling on the water. We all knew the hunting dangers. It might have been anger over our womanly waiting roles and over the imposition of such worry that gave birth to what followed. None of us had eaten yet that day. We sat around the table laden with all the traditional foods, and we waited. The ice in the water glasses was slowly melting. The fruit and marshmallow salad was still chilled. The turkey was hot, and crispy bits of salty skin teased my eye. Without thinking, I broke off a tiny piece from a leg and ate it. As we continued our discussion of important things, someone began picking at the opposite side of the turkey. And all at once we entered a new dimension where we ripped skin off. Our hands dipped rolls into the gravy bowl, scooped up fruit salad with 2 fingers. The only sounds were of eating and ecstasy. Sharon sat next to me, and I gestured for the can of whipped cream beyond her. She took off the lid, shook the can, and sprayed the foam on my pumpkin pie. Then she continued spraying up my arm, accompanied by her characteristic shriek of happiness. "Mom, when are we eating?" came a voice, and the spell was broken. Someone blocked the sight from childish view. The faces smeared with gravy and whipped cream, the stains of cranberry sauce on the tablecloth, and the horror of the victimized turkey. Where had we been together? "What was that?" asked Sharon. "Tom Jones meets Lord of the Flies?" She picked squares of stuffing from the mashed potatoes. "I so confuse," said Hung, our Vietnamese refugee, as the 4 of us scrubbed and patched to cover our debauchery. "Is this American custom? You set the table elegance, then eat like savage?" When the men arrived, they noticed nothing amiss. I was confused, too. We all were. But for this group of friends, it not only met an immediate need, but bonded us further in a relationship that welcomed silliness and rebellion, soothing us with the promise of unconditional love. At my brother's graduation, we sat in a row on cold metal chairs on the crowded gymnasium floor. My parents, my grandparents, and my Aunt Franny. Beside me was my humorless grandmother, and Aunt Franny beyond her. It was a solemn occasion, and the room was quiet after the scraping of chairs had subsided. No iPhones then, no whispering, and only an occasional cough. The ceremony had barely started when, in the quiet in front of us, came a foghorn of a voice. "Where is he?" "Shh, I don't know. He hasn't marched in yet." And a little later, "You see him now?" "Shh, 3rd row, 5th from the left." "He's 5th?" "Yes." "5th from where?" "From the left, in the 3rd row." "In the 3rd? The 3rd row?" "Yes." "Shh. Looks silly in that hat." "What are they doing now?" "Speaking." "Shh." "What?" "Shh. Speaking." "What are they doing now?" "Singing." "Singing?" "Yes." "What are they doing now?" "Shh, praying. It's a moment of silence." "What?" "Praying. Shh." "Speaking?" "No, shh, praying." "Singing?" "No, praying." "Praying?" "Yes." "Well, why didn't you say so in the first place?" I had covered my mouth to keep from laughing out loud when I felt a jiggling next to me. My usually stoic grandmother was shaking. Her hands were over her face. Beyond her, Aunt Franny bit her lips while tears streamed down her cheeks. What a relief it was to escape that gym and let the laughter out.
Thank you, Kathy. Hey, at the top of the show, I mentioned that it's Women's History Month. Here are a couple of other events taking place in the county to celebrate the great stories and accomplishments women have made and continue to. At the Josephi Center for Arts and Culture, they have an exhibit up right now. It's called Horizon Lines, and it was curated by Celia Harlander, who's a wonderful artist, a super friend, and also on Fishtrap's board of directors. I suggest you go check it out. Also at the Josephi Center on Friday, March 21, the annual Women's Words and Music Concert takes place, hosted by the Wallowa Valley Music Alliance. You'll enjoy music and readings from Amy Fairchild, Terry Hall, Kat Johnson, Taylor Reapy, and Jezebel's mother. Many of them who are here tonight. So that's Friday, March 21. Write that down on your calendar. Speaking of Jezebel's mother and the Music Alliance, our third featured reader tonight is Janis Carper. Janis is maybe among one of the most prolific multimedia artists I've ever had the pleasure to be around. Heidi, where are you? Heidi told me a story once when Janis's son was small, that Janis would often get up and write a song before dressing and feeding Joey and taking him off to school. Janis will come to work and tell me, oh yeah, I started doing some paintings this weekend. How many did you do? Oh, 6 or 7, and also writing songs. It's inspiring to be and have the pleasure to work with and be around Janis Carper, and I think many of you feel the same way. On top of that, this is the 12th season of Fishtrap Fireside, and this means that this is the 83rd Fishtrap Fireside event. I think Janis has been to every one of them, or almost every one of them, and this is the first time she's getting up to the podium to read something. Ladies and gentlemen, Janis Carper was raised in rural eastern Washington state, spent a dozen years in Seattle, and eventually found her home in Wallowa County in 2001. She's worked at Fishtrap for 20 years and has also spent those 20 years helping grow and nurture our music community through her work as director of the Wallowa Valley Music Alliance. As an artist and musician, she has always had a knack for songwriting. That's saying it pretty lightly, and is now exploring other forms of expression through the written word. When not making art or music, she loves spending her free time romping through the woods with her big brown dog, Cooper. Welcome, Janis Carper.
Okay, thank you. I had the honor of being involved in one of Fishtrap's online writing workshops this past winter, the Playful Essay with Perrin Kearns. And I want to give a big shout out to Perrin and our wonderful writers in that group. It was really a new experience for me. And this, she taught us about what's called a braided essay, which had multiple points of view. And so that was my assignment, and so that's what I'm reading tonight. Language warning. There's an F-bomb, but just in the title, so plug your ears, kids. So, all right, here goes. My fucked up beautiful life, a tale of gratitude and grief. Here it is, the 31st of December. Goodbye, 2024. I wish I could just slam the door shut and throw away the key, but alas, my troubles will be following me right on into the new year as I try to figure out how to avoid paying taxes on $250,000 of money that was stolen by scammers. But that was not on my mind on this bright, brilliant afternoon. Cooper and I went up to the ridge north of town, one of our favorite places for a quick romp. I tossed my skis in the back just in case there was enough snow for it, and it would have been perfect. But in my rush to get out of the house, I neglected to check the contents of the purple tote that always has the winter gear in it. Just snagged it from the closet and threw it in the truck. Ha, skates, mittens, yak tracks, but no ski boots. Wonder where they ended up. Well, I guess we hike. We took off up the hill, and the snow was not very deep, except in the open areas where it drifted to just above my ankles. The midday sun was spectacular, glinting off the landscape. Not even a whisper of wind. Cooper occasionally looked back at me with that happy place face he gets when we go on hikes, as he sniffed the rabbit trails and marked every other tree. Wow, I can't believe she brought me here. This place is the best, except for that one time last winter when I was post-holing through the drifts while she was on those silly sticks she slides around on. Man, that was a workout. I even started whining. She kept telling me to go back to the road and meet her at the rig. Yeah, right, like that would ever happen. I had to keep an eye on her in case she got too reckless and fell down or something. I was having trouble keeping up, though, and remember how I slept so long when we got home? Ooh, that was a fun day. But it wore me out. Now today, this is perfect. In this stunning landscape, in the fresh, crisp air, I'm only thinking about how fortunate I am to be right here, right now, on a ridgetop with my big, goofy dog, trudging through the snow on the last day of the year. I had started to get used to the idea that my entire life savings is gone. So much for retirement. But to have to pay taxes on money lost in a fraud scam is brutal. Thanks to the previous Trump administration's Tax and Job Act of 2017, there's no longer a deduction allowed for loss through fraud. After being in denial for several months since the big scam, I'm now trying to actually deal with it. Oh, wait, where's she going? She's cutting over here through the trees. Yippee, isn't this a blast? And now, oh, I see. Okay, sure, we can get back to the road this way, but really, are you sure? Some of these drifts are pretty deep. Ugh. Getting weary of the deepening snow further out the ridge we got, I decided to cut through the woods and down the steep timbered slope to join back up with the lower part of the loop. It may not have been the best idea, as most of the snow ended up being well above my knees. Quite a workout by the time we met the road, and still probably almost a mile back to the rig. Invigorating, to say the least, eventually peeling off my gloves and hat once we leveled out. The man's name was Jordan, a master manipulator, posing as a fraud officer from my bank. I was connected to him over a secure line by Veronica, who was posing as an agent of PayPal, from which I had just received an email receipt for over $700 worth of gym equipment. Yeah, that would be me. Of course, I called the number on the receipt to dispute the erroneous charge. That was the beginning of a 2-month-long spiral into the depths of what my local police called the most elaborate fraud scam they had ever encountered. Yee-haw, that was super duper. Just glad it was all downhill. Okay, race you to the truck. When we reached the road, I realized that sometimes I tend to act like my body's only 40, starting off all gung-ho and energetic, only to burn up all my energy right away. Then, as my unconditioned muscles start to grow weary, I'm at greater risk of tripping, losing my balance, twisting an ankle. The possibilities are endless. I need to remind myself I am not an athlete. How did I, a reasonably intelligent and capable person, get sucked into such a scam? Number 1, fear. Jordan had convinced me that my identity had been stolen and was being used for all kinds of nefarious activity, which I would eventually be responsible for if we didn't put a stop to it. Drug and porn rings in foreign countries, arms purchases in Ukraine, credit cards being secured with my identity. I was on the FBI watch list, too. And it was his job to catch these bad guys. He was enlisting my cooperation in this mission. There would be a series of transactions he would walk me through over the coming weeks in order to secure my money and in the process, catch the culprits. I was asked to trust no one. Don't discuss this with anyone. As I trudged through the snow, I felt grateful for this hillside that I visited so often in all seasons. I passed the little swale where the young elderberry tree stands, naked in the brisk winter air. Oh boy, look at all these rabbit tracks. Yippee, maybe I can chase one. Number 2, trust. Jordan called me nearly every day to work on our case. He often referred to meetings and calls with Interpol and the FBI and government rules regarding the case. He often put me on hold for long periods of time. He was quick to praise my responsiveness and cooperation and my savvy with technology, and assured me that once the case was closed, everything was going to be fine. and I was doing a huge service to our country by aiding in his investigation to apprehend the criminals. I would have the option of attending the eventual trial, though it wasn't required. And of course, there would be the standard compensation package when the case wrapped up. We were making good progress and were almost finished. Meanwhile, we were moving my retirement funds from my IRA, which had been building up for the last 35 years, into crypto, a new Discover account we set up as a pass-through, wire transfers, and cash withdrawals and pickups by couriers. Do you know what size of box you need to fit $80,000 cash? I don't know much about timber management around here, but they did a nice job replanting this ridge with a variety of species, including plenty of tamarack, which makes for a magical carpet of gold on the forest floor in early winter before snow falls. I remember that November day a few years back when I finally had the energy to get out after recovering from COVID. I didn't hike far, as I was still always exhausted, but I sat on that very stump over there in that little clearing and just bathed in the sunlight. Hey, got any water in that pack? All this fun's making me thirsty. Number 3, empathy. One day, Jordan informed me that his wife and son had been killed in an accident. He had nothing to live for. A couple of days before that, he had hung up from our call in a rush, sounding rattled, saying something about not being able to reach his family. He seemed clearly distraught, implied that it may not have been an accident. My pace on the last leg of the loop slows, and I stop to sip from my water bottle, pouring out a bit for Cooper. I guess if I were going to make any New Year's resolutions, one would be to get out here more often, or anywhere. Just do it. Isn't that what they say? I know it's helpful in keeping the dark moods from turning into full-on depression. Oh boy, we're home. Hey, could you please help me down? No? Okay. Oof. Ouch. Not as young and tough as I used to be. Ah, there's the couch. Later, Gator. I wonder what it was that made me so vulnerable. Was it loneliness, boredom, a thirst for danger or adventure? None of these things have been typical descriptors of my life, and neither has been the word victim. Now, as I relax on the couch with my faithful canine companion, the sun sets on another year, and I vow to go on more hikes, spend more time making art and music, and try to be more connected with my people. After all, it was my life savings, not my life. Thank you. Oh, and thank you. And one thing to note, at the same time I was writing this essay, I was writing a new song, and it's called Black Moon. And today is Bandcamp Friday, which means if you go to Bandcamp to buy or listen to your music, the artists get 100% of everything. And so my new song, Black Moon, is for sale for $1 or more. So do with that as you will. And you can also just go to janiscarper.com or my YouTube channel and watch it for free. I made a video of it. And anyway, thank you for listening.
I don't know. I suggest you buy all of Janis's albums and paintings and collages. I'm serious. Okay, that's those of our 3 readers. We're going to take a break. I recommend that you go back there and grab a brownie while there's still some. Jennifer Hobbs made them, and snickerdoodles. Fill up your cup, visit with somebody that you know, maybe somebody you don't, and we'll be back in about 10 minutes for the open mic. For any of you, there's still 3 spots open. Give folks a chance who haven't signed up before. For those who are signed up for the open mic, please meet me up here at the stage afterwards. Okay, let's take a break. Shannon needs to go.